Hey, hey, hey. All right, let me shuffle real quick. Ooh. The Strength and the Ten of Cups. Yeah, we gonna see. We gonna see about that. What is this, the Devil? The Devil, the Death card. Hermit reversed. Five of Pentacles. Somebody doesn't want to argue with you with it. There's still not. A couple things here, actually. They're not ready for this new beginning, but they do want to come in and express how much they want you. They don't want this to be over, but they are experiencing some form of transformation. With that being said, that they just don't want any more tension between the two of you. And it's like they don't want to slow things down, or they don't want to stay silent. They don't want to be isolated away from you, whatever that might be, right? But whoever this person is could be waiting for maybe a job opportunity, maybe even looking for some type of justice when it comes down to a situation that they're in right now. They're not really seeing too much of an opportunity when it comes down to making some money, probably. What is going on with my deck here? They probably want to come forward and tell you about this new beginning that they do want to offer you, but because of financial reasons, they're not feeling as secure as they usually would. Coming in pretty slow for them right now, so they're not really even sure what to offer you. Let's see. Why does this keep doing that? Alright, well, I'm gonna stop shuffling this deck because this deck is obviously ready. So what I want to do today is actually just kind of get a look into what's going on. I'm in a great mood, to be honest. I don't know how this reading's gonna go, but we'll see. You know how I usually do this. We're gonna start off with our Oracle deck. This is the Halloween Oracle. I'm not actually sure who it is. Maybe like Stephanie something. Whoever it is, I'm so sorry. Thank you though. This was actually one of my first decks that I actually bought. This is an Oracle deck. So what I want to kind of focus on when it comes down to this deck is mostly like what we're looking for is to set an intention, honestly, really. So my intention with this reading is just to kind of find some clarity, maybe even just open awareness to see whatever's going on, maybe in terms of not being able to be as emotionally expressive as you usually are. You could also be dealing with someone who might think of you, or you might be portraying, or you might think of them as being emotionally manipulative. You're really contemplating about whether or not you want to take this risk or not, because it seems like it's going to have some type of sacrifice, and with that sacrifice, blood will be shed. But unfortunately, with that bloodshed, some benefit will come out of it, most likely. This feels like a toxic situation already. There's no control in this situation, unfortunately, and because of that, things are gonna have to change. People are gonna have to come to some form of realization when it comes down to who they actually are and what they want to offer you and who they want to step up to you as, really. So let's see what the bottom of the deck is. So our Illumination card, what this tells me is that whoever this person is, or you, really, honestly, whoever's watching, this is you feeling more so enlightened to the situation, to the fact that this might not be the right time because of how it's just people have to transform individually before they can come and be partners together. It just seems like whatever the situation is, there's a need for a lot of emotional intelligence, because this did come upside down. And what that basically tells me is that people aren't listening to themselves as well as they might think. There's no control in the situation because people aren't really, somebody both of you probably, both of you aren't willing to kind of see the differences in the situation and understand where both of you are coming from. With that being said, though, it just seems like there is light in the situation, but you're gonna have to rip that band-aid off as soon as possible, probably, because if you do want to have some sort of recognition, reconciliation, some type of reward, right, in order for you to get to that point, you're gonna have to take a risk. And what that risk might look like is, again, that bloodshed. So you can kind of see that vampire is drinking the blood. So you might be willing to take this risk with this person, but you're gonna have to allow yourself to figure out which emotions are yours, really. So what I want to move on to next is this deck. So what I want to look at with this is, yeah, I know you could definitely be turning your back on someone because there just seems like the communication is just not it. The communication is just not it. Let's see. You could be really turning your back because you're not really willing to have this conversation with someone who might not even be reflective about what they've done in the situation. So therefore, meaning like you're just ready to focus on your money mostly, whatever your whatever seeds you planted for yourself. For the most part, I think this is what your focus is on. So what I want to look at, however, is, let's see, these cards. I'm not ready for you. I'm not ready for you. So we're going to look at where you are at presently, right? What we're looking forward to. There's two cards there, so I'll just keep those both. What you're leaving behind, your subconscious and your unconscious, and your advice for whatever decision or whatever situation that you're in. And on the bottom of that, we do have that Queen of Pentacles. So you might be losing focus on what your passion is, really. So it's not to say that you're losing focus, it's just to say that your priorities need to be kind of checked right now. So your advice for this month is to be more I don't want to say selfish is the word. I think that you need to be more aware about how much you're giving to people and how much you're receiving back. So what that tells me is whoever you are, whoever person you're dealing with, whatever situation that you're in, there's gonna be a time where things have to take a step back, which they probably already have, right? But because of that, your guard has to be up right now. And that's not to say that you're going to be somebody who's very hard to, communicate to or whatever that might be, but this person is protecting themselves, I should say, their assets mostly. This is very Taurian energy. So again, with that sense that you just need to protect yourself right now in terms of people who want more than they give to you. So where you're at presently right now, we're going to look at that. You're not really feeling content with the way things are going, probably in a situation in regards to your relationship or something emotional, something that brings you emotional discontentment. And that's probably what you're being illuminated by, because you're not necessarily happy with the love that you've been receiving, or rather the love that you've felt in the past right now. And because this is in your present, it's because it's upside down, this basically tells me that you're ready to kind of just dump all that stuff out. So that stuff meaning your emotions, meaning you're not really willing to kind of change anything right now in terms of just, you don't want to build any new foundations with anybody, because I think right now what you mostly have to focus on is understanding where you're at. And because you don't understand where you're at, you can't offer anything to anybody. So where you're looking, what you're looking towards, right? This is interesting because you did get two cards, but it's the Ten of Pentacles and the Ace of Swords, and they're both upside down. So if you've started something recently, if you've maybe tried to communicate with someone, or you're just not wanting to communicate with someone, or you've looked at options and there just seems to be no clickbait, really. Like there's just I feel like you're not getting any bites on the hammer here. Hammer, whatever that might mean for you. You're dealing with someone named Hammer, God knows what. But basically this tells me that it's not time to talk. It's not time to communicate. It's not time to Tell them how you feel. It's not time for that. You're not focusing on the things that are important. So there's a huge delay in terms of your financial, right? Your financial means. This also means that if you did apply to a job, right? If you did, this is like a somber energy. It's not to say that it's like horrible. It's just to say that you're not doing things for the right reason. And because of that, you're not getting any, there's no movement, there's no progression here in the situation, okay? So what you're leaving behind, though, what you're leaving behind is you might actually be moving somewhere. You might be thinking about moving. You might be thinking about starting something new. And because you've already thought about starting something new and your advice was to kind of hold yourself back, right? In sense of maybe spending. I'm hearing maybe you're spending too much than you're actually getting. What this might also have to deal with is what you're leaving behind is this idea of commitment. Because I think that where you're at presently, right, where you're at presently, this basically tells me that what you're leaving behind is this idea of moving forward, maybe with somebody. It could be a water sign, it could be honestly whatever sign it is, but you haven't received justice yet. So you're leaving the situation behind because you just don't care to communicate again anymore. You don't care to express yourself no more, and it just seems like whatever options that you might have had is just not working anymore. So subconsciously where you're at right now is, yep, you're not interested in having those conversations with people who won't even reflect on what they've done wrong, to at least acknowledge, right? To at least acknowledge what you both could help each other with in terms of how this relationship might go. So how this relationship or situationship, maybe this is a job opportunity that you've been looking for, you're not even interested in asking or really wondering what happened or what went wrong, right? So unconsciously, you might be at a battle right now with yourself. So with that being said, right, battling yourself means to kind of sit in this space unconsciously where you're frustrated. I'm getting really frustrated. It seems like 10%. Thanks. You might be low battery. You might be at a place right now where you're just like, I can't offer anything to anyone, and it's frustrating me because the most that I could do is probably take care of myself, right? So the most that you could do right now is probably understand that sometimes people aren't capable or have the ability to give us what we want because we haven't even given ourselves what we need. And with that being in the unconscious, this basically tells me that you're at a battle right now with a lot of people in your life, or maybe you're feeling very defensive. You're feeling very defensive. There's a lot of defensive energy with this. So what I do want to do is I want to clarify what this Four of Pentacles is. I want to know what in our unconscious is it that we're battling, right? So what in our unconscious is it that we're battling at the moment? You might not feel that you've ever received a genuine form of affection. Maybe not even affection. It could have been something in terms of just genuine love. I think that you've experienced so often that people give you this superficial, right? Superficial type of love. And I think that you're starting to become defensive for the simple fact that you're just no longer, you don't want to be stuck in these situations anymore that you have to, you don't want to be, you want to be, see, there's this sense that you want to be more committed to yourself, but you also want to, you have this wall up that makes it seem like you don't want it, but in a sense, like, you probably really don't want this commitment, maybe not even a commitment, or rather you don't want to be by yourself, but you're kind of in a place where you're forced to. So maybe your advice right now is to kind of allow yourself to ease back into that reality, right? So moving forward, there is the Ten of Cups here. It's just a matter of time when the two of you understand where both of you have come from, in the sense that honestly things could work out. It's just not, it's not your place to kind of say or initiate. I think it's not your place to initiate whatever this is. And because of that, you might be scared that you won't receive what you want from the situation, which is why you hold yourself back. But I think, though, with that emotional intelligence card again and that change, I think you really need to take the time right now to understand that there is no control for you right now in the situation. And because of that, you can either choose to take this risk and gain that reward, or you can kind of just sit in your own sorrows for a little bit and understand that there's not a decision that's being made because it's not yours to make, I think. Let's see.